we're going. Go on then. We're at the hotel, the first one.
We're at the
And we
airport.
have drinks.
We're at the airport hotel at Heathrow.
Okay, in the room here.
Ready for our flight tomorrow to Cusco.
And we got lost in an airport for an hour.
Yeah.
Everything's going well, and we're going to be fine, and we're going to Cusco, and we're going to be on 15-hour flights. But
20 hour.
20 hours worth of flights. And we've downloaded lots of Netflix, we've downloaded lots of Amazon Prime, and Louise is trying to figure out if there's anything on the plane that can knock her out.
Because I want to sleep.
Because you want to sleep. But hopefully tomorrow we'll be going to the lounge and having some food and having some rest and maybe having some spa time to get nails done.
Yeah.
Because nails are important for mountains. And then that's it. Let's do this. Louise, you said some choice things this morning about the day ahead. What are your views and opinions on today?
I'm not looking forward to travelling
Oh, why?
because I don't like the queues
Okay.
and it's tiring
Yes.
and it's a long day.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not looking forward to all of that.
Oh, but it'll all be okay because it takes us to Peru. There we go, there's the smiles.
So we're at the airport, ready for our flight to Cusco later this evening. We're flying from Heathrow, so we've had to travel to Heathrow the day before because we live in the north, so we've had to travel down and stay in the hotel. So we've got quite a few hours before our flight. It's not till this evening and it's about 11 o'clock in the morning now, so I'm just going through all of my stuff, just checking that I've got everything. So I thought I'd just go through what I've got in my bag. So we're taking one checked luggage, which is an 80-litre duffel bag, and then some hand luggage, which I'm taking my rucksack for my hand luggage. So I've got my rucksack, which is an Osprey pack, which is 30 litres. And this is a really good backpack. I've been training in it. It's really comfortable. It's got lots of space. It's got space for a water bladder, lots of ventilation, lots of back support. So it's been a really good backpack so far. So that's what I'm going to be using for the trek and also for my hand luggage. And then in my main luggage, I've got, basically it's all mostly trekking equipment. I've got a sleeping bag here because we'll be camping while we're there, and then I've got my trekking underwear, which is chafe-free underwear to prevent chafing when hiking. And then I've got my wicking t-shirts for hiking. I've got a few of these for each day of the trek. And then I've got my hiking trousers. I've got a couple of pairs of different hiking trousers. And then I've got a travel towel here. I've got my water bladder, which is a 3-litre water bladder, and then I'm also taking a water bottle as well, so that I can use that to put electrolytes in and things like that. I've got a hat to keep the sun off me, and then also like a waterproof cap as well. And then I've got in here all of my waterproofs. I've got waterproof, like a rucksack cover for my bag. And I've got a couple of ponchos. I've got a waterproof Gore-Tex coat and some waterproof trousers as well in here. And then I've also got a shiwi because I'm not sure what the toilet situation will be like, so that's just in case really. And then also in this I've got a dry bag, which I'll put in my rucksack to keep my stuff dry because it does rain a lot. We're going in the dry season, but they do get a lot of rain, so just in case. And then I've got also a beanie hat to keep my head warm, which is also waterproof as well. And I've also got some gloves, which are also waterproof. These are sealskins ones, and I've trained with these and they're pretty good, keeping my hands dry. So yeah, I've got all of my waterproof gear in here. Then I've got my hiking boots in here, and I've got a toiletry bag. So I've got some bug spray, just some general toiletries, and then also some sun cream, after sun, things like that. And then we've got some electrolyte sachets for rehydration, some thermal base layers, a couple of base layer tops and some leggings, a warm fleece, and then I've got my down jacket for the evenings to keep warm. And then in here I've just got some like non-hiking clothes, just like casual clothes for like around the camp and stuff like that. I've got all of my electronics are in here, like cables, adapter, power banks, head torch. I've got my travel pillow to help my back on the long flight, and then I've got my like toothbrush, hairbrush, some flight socks, ear plugs, and like an eye mask thing. Got all my medication over there, and then just what I need for the flight, really, like my Kindle and bits and bobs. And then we've got a little pack for like camping, like some travel wipes, tissues, first aid kit, zinc oxide tape, gaffer tape. Also got some spare boot laces as well for my boots, just in case. I think that's most things. Like I say, we've got quite a long wait now for our flight, so we're just gonna, when we check out of the hotel, we're gonna head back to the airport at some point and see if we can drop our bags off. Oh yeah, we've also got some energy gels as well, which I forgot to mention, so just to keep us going on the trek. And these have got electrolytes in as well. So we arrived at Heathrow Terminal 3 very early before our flight, so we had a few hours to hang around before we could actually check in. So I got my bag wrapped because I noticed it had a rip in it when we were at the hotel. Typical. And then we had some food before we could finally check in. We then headed to the airport lounge for some drinks and a chill before our flight. We flew with LATAM Airlines and the flight was late, so it was an overnight flight. There was some entertainment on the plane, but not much space, and it felt quite cramped and uncomfortable. I tried to sleep but didn't have much luck, and then we arrived in Sao Paulo very early their time and connected onto another flight to Lima. I was pretty tired at this point.
Brazil's too hot. But aircon has.
I'm not a huge fan of multiple connecting flights, and it was a bit stressful trying to find where to go to get our flight to Lima, as the airport at Sao Paulo was massive and confusing. I also got my bag searched, which was fun. We managed to find where to go, and we had some nice views of the Andes mountains on our journey. And then when we arrived in Lima, we had about an hour or so we had some time for a coffee. I had no idea what day or time it was. At this point, I think it was around lunchtime. The last flight was a much smaller plane. It took around 1.5 hours. I was so relieved to finally arrive in Cusco after all the travelling. We arrived around mid-afternoon their time on the Saturday due to the 6-hour time difference from the UK, but it was fairly late back home, so we were pretty tired, and we'd been travelling for around 24 hours at that point. The trip was booked through Charity Challenge, and the reason I was doing this was to raise money for Scoliosis Association UK. So we met some Charity Challenge people at the airport, and they took us on the bus to take us to our hotel that we were staying in for 2 nights in Cusco with the other people also on our challenge, and there was about 20 of us all together. So at this point I remember thinking that I felt pretty normal and the altitude didn't seem to be affecting me, so I was quite pleased. Although I didn't know what to expect really, but we had flown straight into Cusco, which is 3,399 metres above sea level, so we hadn't really had any time to acclimatise at this point, but more on the altitude later. I also remember thinking how pretty Cusco was, and also how big it was. It was much bigger than I expected. We were told by our guide that it's a very safe city, and I have to agree, I felt very safe when exploring later in the trip. It took around an hour or so to get to the hotel, and it started to rain quite heavily, and I noticed the locals pulling out their ponchos. If you come to Cusco, a poncho is a must due to the rain. They sell them everywhere, so you can get one when you arrive, although we did go in October, which apparently is a good month to go as it didn't rain too much whilst we were here.
Oh, what a nice welcome. Nice welcome.
Feels like we're back at home.
We arrived at the hotel, got checked in, and once we dumped our bags in our rooms, we were told to go straight downstairs for a team brief and some lunch. I wanted to film the rain to show how heavy it was. It's kind of hard to see here, but it was running down the street outside. This is the dining room where we had our first team meal. I didn't really feel like eating much at this point, but the food was amazing and the hotel was also really nice. Hi everyone, so we've finally arrived at our hotel in Cusco after the longest journey I think that I've ever been on, apart from when I went to Australia. So we had a 10-hour, 11 hour, something like that, flight from London to Sao Paulo in Brazil, and then we went from Brazil to Lima, and which was about 5.5 hours, and then Lima to Cusco, which was about 1.5 hours. So we've been traveling for, at this point we've been traveling for well over 24 hours, so we're pretty tired. And yeah, we've just got to the hotel. It's been pretty chaotic. We've dropped our bags off and then had like a team meal and a bit of a brief. We've got a couple of hours now to just relax in the hotel, and then we're going out later for a meal in Cusco. So basically we've been told just to chill out now because of the altitude. It can apparently take 5 or 6 hours for symptoms to kind of kick in, so I feel okay at the moment. I feel really jet lagged, really tired and run down, but in terms of altitude I feel okay at the moment. But yeah, apparently symptoms can happen in about 5 or 6 hours, so we've been told to drink loads of water, rest as much as possible today, avoid alcohol, and just keep hydrated basically. And that's what we're trying to do. I've also got some medication for altitude sickness, so I'm gonna take that in a minute as well, as hopefully that will help. But I'll just show you the room. So this is the room. Really nice hotel. The food we've had so far has been beautiful. Cusco is beautiful. You can see, look at the mountains. It's quite a big city. It's bigger than what I expected really. But yeah, rest time now. Hopefully we feel okay with the altitude, and then tomorrow we're up really early, 6 a.m. for another team brief, breakfast, and an acclimatization hike, which is about 3 hours, and then we've got the rest of the day to see Cusco before we start our trek the following day.